Ladies and gentlemen, the Electronic Theater Restaurants Corporation, the largest franchisee of Pizza Time Theater Incorporated, is proud to present the magic of the Pizza Time Players.
Chuck E. Cheese is a nationally known pizza arcade restaurant created in 1977. Despite being the most well-known, it wasn't the only restaurant of its kind. There were several competitors, with one of the most popular being Showbiz Pizza Place. These two companies were connected in more ways than their market, however, and the debate between these two companies would lead to a series of events causing Chuck E. Cheese's success as a pop culture icon and Showbiz Pizza's downfall. The year was 1972 when the gaming company Atari was founded by Nolan Bushnell. After a failed first game, Bushnell and his team released an arcade game named Pong. Despite the $3 million in sales, Bushnell realized there was a problem. While the machines were being sold for just more than $1,500, the machines themselves were turning out $15,000 to $20,000 in their lifespans. To gain back the money he was losing to his vendors, Bushnell founded the idea of an arcade, using food as the main selling point. During the 1970s, many arcade games were only found in bars. Opening a family restaurant with arcade games was a new concept.
Well, I think that I wanted to have entertainment, and what I was thinking of is the pizza parlors that had the big Wurlitzer organ were very successful, and I wanted to have a nice place where kids could go to play games.
After several revisions of their ideas and a selling of Atari to Warner, Coyote Pizza eventually became Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater. The mascot, a cigar-smoking rat with a New Jersey accent, was joined by several other animatronics and called the Pizza Time Players. Chuck E. Cheese opened its doors for the first time on May 17, 1977 in San Jose, California. Despite poor food reviews, the entertainment made the business a success, as animatronics of this caliber were only found at Disney around this time. Plans were made for franchisement of Chuck E. Cheese. As a result of Warner's refusal to franchise, Bushnell purchased Atari back from them for $500,000. Plans for a second location were set in motion and became a reality with the opening of America's largest pizzeria of the 1970s. Creative Engineering CEO Aaron Fechter met Nolan Bushnell while displaying his impressive animatronics at a convention in 1978.
Ha ha! Hello, all you big boppers, little boppers, and all you crazy cats out there. I'm the Wolfman coming at you almost live and in person, direct from Orlando, Florida.
Bushnell offered a deal with Fechter for his animatronics, but Fechter refused. Bushnell pushed his luck with Fechter again a year later, but Fechter still refused in fear of his animatronics being reverse engineered by Atari. That same year, a man named Robert Brock, CEO of Holiday Inn, formed a $200 million development contract with Nolan Bushnell. Both Brock and Bushnell worked together to begin franchising Pizza Showbiz. After a meeting with Bushnell in 1979, where he was told that Fechter's animatronics were mediocre at best, Brock met with Fechter and toured his company, Creative Imagineering. Amazed by the quality of the animatronics, Brock and Fechter struck up a deal to begin Showbiz Pizza Place. This one business decision would lead to a path of debate and failure. Brock went to Bushnell and requested that their contract be terminated, to which Bushnell refused. Regardless, Brock worked tirelessly with Fechter to push out animatronics in time for the opening of what would have been a new Chuck E. Cheese location. The world was introduced to the Rockafire Explosion animatronic band of Showbiz Pizza Place in 1980. The business was an immediate hit with critics, but Bushnell was soon to find out about the betrayal. Infuriated, Bushnell sued Showbiz Pizza under CEC for breach of contract and theft of trade secrets, making the first move in their legal debate. Showbiz countersued for misrepresentation, claiming they had been led on to believe that Chuck E. Cheese had the only suitable animatronic show outside of Disney. Now rivals, both companies began to expand and build near each other to purposefully force families into debates over which location they should go to. They even began upgrading the animatronics and characters to one-up each other. Chuck E. Cheese's portrait show became a more advanced balcony show, and Showbiz introduced new characters like Uncle Clunk while working on updated main character animatronics. Chuck E. Cheese also introduced more music-central characters such as the Beagles, Beach Bowsers, and the King. The legal debate between these two companies would lead to the creation of copycat locations, including Bullwinkle's Family Food and Fun and Tex Critter's Pizza Jamboree. The legal debate was finally settled outside of court in 1982 when Showbiz offered to pay CEC about $1 million in damages, as well as a percentage of their profits for the next 14 years. While this would seem to mean that CEC had won the legal debate through Showbiz's diplomacy, they weren't out of trouble yet. 1983 marked the beginning of the video game market crash, leading to a large dip in sales at Chuck E. Cheese locations. They had spent most of their money on advertisements, and labor costs for upkeep of the animatronics were growing significantly. Things weren't helped when they started producing more locations than was demanded. Having placed most of the earnings from Chuck E. Cheese into video game stock, Bushnell resigned from his position in 1984, the same year that Chuck E. Cheese would declare Class 11 bankruptcy. With Chuck E. Cheese now bankrupt and Showbiz still paying out to Chuck E. Cheese, Showbiz made a last-ditch diplomatic effort to save both companies by buying Chuck E. Cheese out for $35 million, renaming the company Showbiz Pizza Time Incorporated. Showbiz Pizza Time Incorporated stepped forward and separated Chuck E. Cheese and Showbiz Pizza Place in every way except marketing. The mascots Chuck and Billy Bob were often seen in advertising, and commercials were almost identical and interchangeable.
But at Showbiz Pizza, you can act like a kid. You can have more fun than you ever did. But at Chuck E. Cheese, you can act like a kid. You can have more fun than you ever did.
However, that soon began to change as Chuck E. Cheese started to outshine Showbiz Pizza Place. Food was updated and more arcade games were added to the restaurants, with live performances helping to boost sales in all locations. Aaron Fechter was pressured by Showbiz Pizza Time Incorporated to hand over the full copyrights for the Rockafire Explosion, but he continuously refused. As a result, all Showbiz Pizza Place locations were replaced with Chuck E. Cheese locations. The animatronics from Showbiz were used in a process called concept unification to form Chuck E. Cheese's Mr. Munch's Make-Believe Band. Even the company name was changed in 1998 to CEC Entertainment. Over the years, Chuck E.'s design was changed and the animatronics decreased in quality. Now, Chuck E. Cheese has closed hundreds of their locations, with only 612 still in operation as of 2021. The company is worth just over $1 billion now, as they make plans to continue phasing out locations completely. Despite their legal debate, they were able to move past their problems and form the childhoods of thousands of Americans, even if only one company was able to achieve this goal into the present day. It isn't without Showbiz Pizza's diplomacy that Chuck E. Cheese continues to exist to this day.
You can smile, America, with Chuck E. Cheese.